Welcome, viewers. Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Caribbean Talks. How are you this afternoon, Avernel?
I am great, and you?
I am a bit bittersweet, but we'll see how this episode goes. So thanks everyone for tuning in to another episode of Caribbean Talks, where we focus on all things Caribbean. And this is our last episode for season 1. Avernel, imagine that. Last episode.
2 months, 10 seasons.
So true, so true. So I'm your host, Latoyaa Thomas, a communications consultant and definitely an advocate for all things Caribbean. And joining me is our co-host,
Avernel Romeo-Williams. Happy to be here.
So thank you for joining us for the last 9 episodes. And for those who have not had time to check out our previous episodes, do visit Caribbean Insight Facebook page. We have over 3 months of engaging discussions on the topic of health, food, education, festivals, and so much more. So do check it out. And here at Caribbean Talk, we seek to highlight interests of the diaspora and the world through the conversations of the things that matter to us in the Caribbean, Avernel. It's all about the Caribbean.
Yes.
And before we go further, we'll definitely like to acknowledge our sponsors, because this show could not happen without them. Caribbean Insight, an online platform that focuses on Caribbean lifestyle by providing information on current affairs, lifestyle, political developments, etc., all across the region. You can visit the website www.mycaribbeaninsight.com. So if you haven't checked out the website yet, please do. LRT's media solution, empowering businesses and improving lives by providing transformative services to clients primarily in the global south. So thanks very much to LRT's media for all the business consulting needed for this program. And also we have AD Romeo and Associates Consultancy, fostering sustainable development through innovative services worldwide. So big up to ADR also for being with us for the 10 episodes of Caribbean Talk. Viewers, I'm inviting you to join the live stream if those have not connected as yet. Share it with your friends, your networks all around the Caribbean region. Follow us on Caribbean Insight Facebook page. Like, share, comment, definitely get involved in the Caribbean conversation. Viewers, just remember you're also encouraged to put your questions or comments in the live in the chat box, and we'll try to address them throughout our show, Avernel. Today, it's all about talking and just reflecting.
Opinions, yes.
Definitely. So we're at episode 10, and we feature the topic, headlines that took our breath away in 2022. Some of them literally took the breath away. So 2022 was definitely a trying but also exciting year for many of us. And Avernel and I will recap and highlight some of the major stories that we believe were important to us in the Caribbean for 2022. But if your story didn't make it in our list, do not worry, you can definitely share and comment in the chat below. Yes, Avernel?
Yes, yes.
So I think, one of the top stories was definitely, we're accustomed in the Caribbean, we're accustomed being a bit British dependent. We went through the whole slavery experience, and after slavery, we still got tied a bit to the crown. But, many times, many countries have been talking about getting both independence and being a republic and moving away from the British throne. So the first topic, Jamaica and Barbados denounced the Commonwealth in 2022 in terms of looking at
Barbados actually finished the process, but Jamaica isn't quite there. They're saying that but it was easier for Barbados to do it. They just needed a majority vote, but for Jamaica, it is part of the constitution. So I guess they are going into the realm of maybe a constitutional reform or something like that. But yeah, to your point, a lot of countries are saying in the Caribbean that they no longer want the Queen as their head of state. I mean, they would have attained independence, but they still allowed her to remain the sovereign, to remain as I can't say the queen anymore, we have a king
Exactly.
now,
It's not the king,
but
King
they have a
Charles.
king now. Yes, but the sovereign, the monarchy, to be the head of their state, and they are, moving away from that. They want to become a republic, so, but even though they become a republic, they can also remain part of the Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth. I was wondering, what is the benefit of joining the Commonwealth? But I found out that apparently they provide trading links, so you have a market to be able to trade on your goods, or to find, other goods that, you may want to import. And they also say that the Commonwealth actually they can provide a foundation to resolve conflicts for the countries that would like a platform such as this. So they are so even if they do denounce the sovereign as their head of state, they can remain in the Commonwealth and continue to continue to get whatever successes they want from being a part of that grouping. So that was interesting to me.
I think that's a really interesting take, because I do agree, a lot of these global organizations, international organizations, are still here to help. And it's still important to be a part of powerful groupings, quote unquote powerful. And if there are aligned benefits, whether it's the perception and the privileges and the opportunities that you get by still aligning with the Commonwealth, why not, right? Because you can't do it all alone. And even as these countries have now denounced the king as the head of state, the sovereign, they still will need that technical capacity as they continue to grow and transition. So definitely the support from Britain is always welcome in whatever form it may. But I do agree, the idea of countries really focusing on their sovereignty and really taking that whole idea of identity and being responsible for your overall growth and development, I think is a good step.
I don't see, well, my opinion is that I don't really much see the two becoming republics to sever any ties. I think it's just evolution of the type of tie, that the individual country wants to have it now. But I never knew there were so many countries that are still not republics in the Caribbean, 6 in total. And outside of the Caribbean, there are 6 more countries, Canada, imagine Canada, New Zealand, etc., that are also not republics,
Wow.
former colonies of of Britain. That was interesting for me. And they were even saying that the Commonwealth has such, I mean, yes, it did start with countries that were former colonies, but it has evolved and included countries that they never had any kind of colonial link to Britain. I thought that was interesting. I think I saw 2. I can't even remember who they were, but yeah, 2 countries. Mozambique, I think, was one, and one other, that they are also part of the Commonwealth, although they were never colonized by Britain. So I think that's very interesting. Yes, to me it's more than a historical block, clearly, and the successes to be gained from being a part of the Commonwealth, it's far more than the past, or the foundations of the past, if you want to call it that.
Okay. So I definitely think this was definitely a good headline to remember. Kudos to Jamaica and Barbados for doing your thing. You're a big boy, big girl now. You don't need to rely too much on the British influence. Whenever you need them, you call them. But
they're no longer the head of state.
Of the state.
They don't need to go to the Queen for permission to do certain things.
So no longer governor, because I think in Barbados, right, they appointed their first female president. It's a female president.
Yes.
They chose.
Yes, I think they had Governor General
before. Yes, they did.
Yes. So congrats. Moving on. This is the normal evolution. I believe in choice, and if that is what they choose, then the world must support.
Definitely. So we have so many more headlines to talk about. Another headline, Avernel, what you think? Really, really, really blew us away. For me, 2022 was finally about we outside. Everybody, that was a slang all over the island for us in Trinidad and Tobago. We outside. Everybody had a status about being outside, and being outside, not only physically outside in your yard or walking on the street, but at least be outside that we could cross borders. The borders were finally opened up back for international travel due to the challenges of COVID-19.
Yes, yes.
Now we're not totally out yet because today I nearly got a heart attack. I was wondering if my dear PM want to bring me back inside, but thank God not yet. Or maybe it may not happen at all. But definitely
You have to take it serious. The numbers are rising, so he's right to be cautious. We are all right to be cautious.
But now let me enjoy my way outside moment. So definitely in 2022, one of the headlines was finally we didn't have to wait for another barrier to really go outside and have fun. We were totally free. There was no longer the need for masks being mandatory. I could finally book a flight and go on a vacation. The borders will open up. Definitely those who chose to vax knew why and they enjoyed the vaccination, but those who did not choose to get vaccinated, they were very happy because they said they no longer needed it. Definitely the choice is up to persons, but at the end of the day, health and well-being is important. But in 2022, after approximately 2 years of lockdown, quote unquote, of no traveling, no interaction outside of your house unless you're
limited,
very limited unless you're essential. The social distancing, all of those measures kind of reduced, and we were finally outside. What was the first thing you decided to do after, you know, the whole idea of all travel restrictions? I was just like on my computer, I was looking for
to the beach, like, and not even to bathe, just to like, you know, I think we never really appreciate the freedoms that we enjoy.
Of course.
Until, you know, they are restricted. But I must say that, I mean, yes, at the time, you know, we don't understand or see the reason why. And I know there were a lot of people that were grumpy, but maybe the freedom that we were able to enjoy subsequently after would not have been, it might have been delayed, you know, maybe had we not endured what it is that we would have had to endure, you know, because sometimes when you're scrolling through international news and you see certain countries, and especially when you look at the news through the eyes of nurses and their comments, I mean, sometimes you're like, thank God for Trinidad and Tobago. Just, I'm so happy to be here, you know. So happy to have gone through the pandemic in this island state. I believe we did well.
I think so. And I think a part about us being able to transition, and as the Prime Minister said, you know, the measures that we had in place then, we are so much more prepared now. So I'm really hoping that the technology and the research, because yes, I don't see the daily death rates anymore and all of that, but I know studies are still being done, updated research is always being done, mitigation measures are always in place to ensure we can continue to live the life outside, because nobody wants to go back. So we're not totally over COVID at all in any way, but I do agree, thanks to all the service providers and all the technical teams and all the researchers that have been working so hard to ensure that as a population we survived COVID-19 and we could continue to live and enjoy life. So yes, Avi, I outside and I will continue to be outside in 2022 into 2023 and beyond. No more lockdowns, hopefully.
Yes. And and let us see what 2023 has to offer. I mean, the press conference that our Prime Minister would have had, I believe it was yesterday and today. Today he had another one as well, you know, but you know, he is basically saying, in my opinion, that let us be aware of what's happening in our surroundings. You know, we are still having deaths, we have cases, the numbers are a little bit higher than, we would have liked. So let us just simply, not take our eye off of the prize, and let's see what 2023 has to offer. No one wants another lockdown, but I believe if we do
No.
what we have to do, then let us, if we do what we have to do, then I mean, it wouldn't come to that. Yeah.
I hope not.
So,
I definitely hope not.
so yeah. So another topic that have been, bothering us, or not bothering us, but has been at the forefront is climate change. And a lot of people would have been talking about, even in our first interview, our very first interview for the program was on climate change and also COP27 in Egypt. And there were a lot of comments about our fellow Caribbean woman, Prime Minister Mia Mottley, and her comments at the forum, and she was very, some people would have said that it was very, rebuking, it was very scathing, on some of the things that she would have brought up. So one of the things that I would have remembered from her speech is, climate justice. And the point that she was making is that the people who do nothing are paying the brunt of the consequences, right? For something that is not their fault, And she was saying that the talking and the talking and the talking and the talking, that's all we are doing, but where is the action? And so quarter or foot is on, or we are on the highway to hell, or foot on the accelerator, one of the comments that, she would have made. So personally, I think that she had a right and she had the moral authority to speak the way she spoke, because she is from a place or governing an island that is on the forefront of climate change. So who could fault her, for the comments that she's making? As she said, it is literally a life and death situation. Natural disasters on the increase. And then when they do hit us in the Caribbean, it takes years to recover. And then you have to recover from that and then continue on adaptation and mitigation programs to deal with it. So her comments really resonated with me, that it's not fair, and our inactivity will cost us and the future.
Well, I totally agree with everything that you said, Avernel. Mia Mottley is a champion Prime Minister of the Caribbean. If there's ever a role or
and a fellow woman.
And a fellow woman. And what she said really, really, really made sense. And sometimes in these forums, we really need the ministers or government ministers to really speak up about the challenges. I know us as SIDS, small island developing states, when we get to those big platform forums, we don't want to get angry with the bigger countries. We don't want to make enemies.
Partnership.
Exactly. But we need to acknowledge the elephant in the room, that climate change is not all our problem. And the smaller countries are terribly affected by it. And we are fighting for survival.
It's a narrow window. I mean, if it goes above, if the temperature goes above a certain degree, they say that it will be irreversible. So, which is eye-opening. I never knew that. That came out for COP27 to me. That it's a small window and we are almost at the point of no return. Doesn't that tingle something in within you? All the naysayers that think it's an opinion, climate change is an opinion. It's an opinion. It's backed by the science.
It's backed by the science and everyday reality. We're seeing so much flooding, and a lot of people feel climate change is only flooding, but it's not that. It's flooding, it's drought, it's food security issues, it's displacement of people. It's a lot of issues to deal with under the umbrella of climate change. So we need to realize how important this issue is affecting all of our lives and address it. So kudos to you, Mia Mottley. Continue to speak up, continue to be the voice of the Caribbean people in the room. And I know you'll have the support of many of our politicians and leaders all over the region. So definitely,
it's a pleasure to rally behind her. Very much so.
That was definitely a headline that took my breath away. One that really took breath away, literally, for me was in Trinidad and Tobago, we lost some cultural icons. Very sad.
Yes, he did.
But
Yes,
literally
he did.
breaths were taken away with this one. And for me, I like to highlight two cultural icons that we lost. One was Blacks, a soca artist. He goes by the name of Dexter Stewart. And then the other was also another cultural icon in the field of calypso. We had Black Stalin, who passed away, and also in the Tobago space, a former co-worker of mine, Royal Titus, who taught culture at Space High School for many years, and he's also been involved in the cultural arts for years, and also a past senator in the government of Trinidad and Tobago, Royal Titus. And sometimes in life, you know what? It's sad that we wait until the breath is taken away before we celebrate. Because I know, for example, the day that Blacks died, oh my God, you just heard his songs on the airway whole day. It was just a Black
He was
song.
so charismatic. He was so like, when you see him perform, you know, he's breathless, but he's going, and you're like, yes.
And he really held a crowd. And you know, there were times when I always felt as if they thief Blacks when it came to groovy and winning Soca Mana and all of that. But you know, you had some of the best hits. You know, two of my best hits, I was have to say 2022 mashup. That definitely paid a lot of homage to the work of Blacks. And then I definitely loved Breathless. Those were my two. What are your two picks, Avernel?
What comes to mind? You know, Spread Your Hands and Let Go.
Yes, we all had to let go with that song.
And I think everyone sang oh wow. What's that one with the Hulk?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
That one.
yes.
A lot of people like that one. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think those were excellent songs by Blacks. His music will continue to live on. I do hope that, you know, the royalties and the copyrights and all that. Yeah.
And Black Stalin, yes. Black Stalin, wow.
Again,
He was older. He was
yes,
in his 80s. How old was he?
I think he was like late 70s, early 80s. I'm not too sure. But at least, you know, he got a bit of recognition. I know Black Stalin got an honorary doctorate.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Before
and that's something I really admire, because in order to produce the type of songs that he would have produced, he would have to do, you know, extensive research to, you know, to compose. Yeah, because there were commentaries and, you know, what's going on in social, I know, social life, politics, you know. So yeah, that took a lot of research. So that was basically, you know, a degree there.
Yeah, so we have to respect our cultural icons and the contribution that they make to our culture. It's part of society. It's part of our culture. It's part of our history going forward. So we definitely need to. And you know, last Royal Titus, again, he was an anthropologist and also a cultural person. Unfortunately, I know in Tobago they wanted to recognize him in terms of giving an award, but that did not happen. It's really sad that it has to be done posthumously.
Yeah.
But definitely
we should reward people now. We shouldn't wait. We don't know the future holds, you know. We don't know how long we'll be here. So if you think someone needs an award, just, you know, start it, you know, get the wheels turning on it. You know, but yeah. I mean, like, to me, like, artists like Black Stalin, they are able to criticize or to compliment or in between in a way that, you know, brings, you know, in a comical way. I mean, it's serious. It is serious topics we are talking about, but the way that they're able to bring it across, it's less intimidating. It's less offensive.
Social commentary, but how you bring it to people. Very
so it has a very big place in our society.
And done through music. Music is something that goes through the soul from any age, any category. From those in government places and high diplomatic and technical places down to the man on the street could appreciate a good song and the message being sent there. So yes, that was definitely a headline.
Yeah, may they rest in peace.
So another headline that really had me really down is, I don't know about you, but post-COVID, the inflation,
Well,
everything going up except the salaries.
well, yes, yes. That is a lot of people have been saying and complaining about that. I mean, inflation is something that happens every year, but are we in double digits now? Because of, the pandemic would have, started it, but the war on Ukraine, have seriously thrown food prices and as well as energy prices, oil, in like for a loop. They were saying that, Russia, for example, is the largest wheat producer in the world and Ukraine comes third. So imagine if they are not able to produce to produce the amount that they were producing before, then it gives rise to a shortage. And what happens in a shortage? Prices go up.
Well, the
So
thing is,
that is a
things
real
raised two and
consequence to the
three
world.
times last year, though. I could count at least bread raised twice in 2022. Gas
Mm-hmm.
raised also in 2022. Every time I go to the store and I come back, is a different price for the same thing that I paid for a few weeks ago. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
ridiculous.
Absolutely. And just wheat. I know a lot of people like cream of wheat, the porridge. A box now is like 60 something dollars, where before it was 20 and 35, and it just doubled overnight. So all the people, young babies or older persons who enjoy that nighttime or morning time meal, you have to pay double now, you
And
know?
the challenge is that with all these prices rising, I am worried about when it comes to the economics of the
Mm-hmm.
salaries and how are people really able to cope with the new cost of living. And yes, I understand COVID existed and it would have led to that. But what are the mechanisms, some more governments, what are the mechanisms to ensure that people could really survive this post-COVID life with the inflation? Because I don't see prices coming returning low anytime soon. I
I
really do not see
don't,
that.
for my household, thoughts of trying to, plant your own food, eat less, not less flour, because flour is a big part of our diet, but maybe you eat what you plant, so, kind of shift to the ground provision and by growing your own ground provision if you can, your own
Mhm.
leafy vegetables. So at least one, you could take care of one third of what is on your plate, can help to offset your grocery bill at the end of the month. I think we all must sit and find innovative ways to to handle the inflation and the prices of our pocket, because as you rightly said, salaries not going anywhere. Everything else moving, but the salary remains the same.
So I
At the
think
end
it's
of the day, we have
definitely
to
be
survive. We have to
creative,
eat.
be creative. It's about your choices. It's about focusing on
Mm-hmm.
more local and imported things right now. Look at the
Yeah,
essential
yeah.
needs that you need to manage your household.
Our energy bill, oil prices are also increasing, and I guess maybe Trinidad and Tobago that might be a little positive and not a big negative, but then that could also spill over in our electricity
Yeah,
bill.
yeah, yeah. We knew the oil was heavily
Yeah.
subsidized and we knew eventually the government needed to deal
Mm-hmm.
with the issue. But
Yeah.
hopefully they don't raise anything else anytime soon, because I know they say the
Don't
electricity
hold
is
your
going
breath.
up, the telephone and communication bills is going up, the water rate is considering to go up also. So I am a bit worried. So let it take the time, raise it a little bit now. I hope our finance
Mm-hmm.
minister don't go back to talking about he raising it and we're not rioting enough. So he will continue raising it again. I hope it's not a case
Oh
of
my
that,
goodness.
but just be
Well,
conscious on
come
how
what
the
may,
price
we
raise.
have to do what we have to do. Come what may. And another point coming out of the war on Ukraine is that some persons are saying that it may cause fragmentation, in the region on the different opinions, the different leaders' opinions on the war, who would support, who would not support, who would choose to abstain. It may cause it may cause a difference of opinion, with us here in the region on what's happening over there.
I think generally we're okay. We sympathize and we understand the challenges, but we're okay.
Mhm.
also, I think also we as a people need to understand that that war in Ukraine, it seems so far away from us, but because of globalization and how interconnected we are, let's not take it for granted that what is happening across there doesn't have a direct impact, doesn't have a direct effect on our lives, because it does. So we definitely cannot close our eyes to it, because there are also, at the end of the day, human rights issues there. It's people lives at stake, it's displacement, it's the political turmoil, it's the challenges of persons who don't want to be caught up in this war, even wondering where their identity lies now, and how do they rebuild from this, families being torn away. So we need to have a heart in this whole political war that is happening, and really hope at the end of the day that we as an international community can support Ukraine, but also support or at least understand what is there to be done in Russia and how could this be amicably solved to move on. So, you know, it's those are definitely the headlines that really blew us away in 2022. Some literally took breaths away. Others really inflated like a balloon, really blew up. Others were really about giving us the opportunity to be free again and outside and really breathe, have a breathing space to really get some fresh air after being in the house for a while. Others were so harsh in statements that it really made us think twice about life and about our purpose here. And Avernel, I just hope that these are not all the headlines, but I think these are just really some hard hitters that really had us thinking twice about life. I don't see anybody on social media with any comments for any headlines. I guess persons agree that those are the headlines that really impacted us. Even after the show, as you reflect, as you move on to for 2023, if there's any headline or any topical issue that you think we need to address in Caribbean Insight, do definitely leave your comments and do share. So Avernel, it's 2023. What are your prospects? What are you going to be looking forward to in 2023?
So many things. I have so many interests. I know one of my interests came out of our gluten-free episode, and I really want to try some of the advice that our guest speaker at the time would have said, to try to limit, to put on, to be more aware of portion sizes and the type of things that we do, the type of things that we do prepare, the size of chicken like so and the vegetable like so. I remember that. So if it's one thing, to try to make the vegetable like so and the chicken not so, but so that's something that I really want to try for myself for 2023.
That looks like
I'm
a
happy for
very
that
good
episode.
plan.
Very happy with that episode.
For me, for 2023, I want to hit up a few more countries. So, the episode on, where to travel on a budget. I think that was really useful. We're outside in 2023, so I really want to explore a little bit more of the world, but definitely being conscious. I'm not going to be splurging since the inflation is there all around the region, but I'm conscious on where do I travel, how do I manage my travel budget, and what new culture and experiences that I want to see. I want to live life, probably check out some new festivals that are opening up in the region. Like I know a friend of mine from Jamaica, he mentioned to me, come to Calabash Festival. It's a literary arts festival that is held in Jamaica, and they haven't had it for 2 years because of COVID. So I may check that out. You never know what else is popping in the region that I will consider, but definitely it's about appreciating life, appreciating the moments, appreciating people, appreciating the experiences that you can gather from all over the world.
And let us be aware of our surroundings. Let us not, try to convince ourselves that something is not happening. For example, inflation is here, so maybe the episode on how to plant your own backyard garden may come in handy, how to get started. I believe the hardest thing is to start. But when you do start, you only have further and further to go.
Definitely. Well, viewers,
Yes.
2022 was excellent and 2023 will be a blast. Today, it was definitely a healthy conversation between Avernel and myself. It was a pleasure definitely chatting with you today, Avernel. A really, really excellent conversation. Those headlines from
Always.
2020, oh, great, definitely. Those headlines from 2022 definitely had us thinking, and I do hope for our viewers you enjoyed the journey with us as we reflected down memory lane. And we definitely look forward to the successes and the excitement in 2023.
Yeah.
Caribbean Talks episode 1, we're pretty much closing up, but this Caribbean Talk show could not have been possible without our sponsors. So Caribbean Insight, for the work that they've been doing to share topical information around the Caribbean. Caribbean Insight focuses on issues dealing with lifestyle, health, culture, sports, food, current affairs, etc. So do check out all the articles, do check out all the businesses linked to Caribbean Insight. You can definitely check out the Facebook page, Caribbean Insight, and also the website, www.mycaribbeaninsight.com. LRT Medias and Business Solution for all your media consulting and business support for these 10 episodes in the show. It was wonderful being here. As Latoyaa Roberts, co-host, and then big up to my co-host, also Adia Romeo and Associates Consultancy, Avernel, definitely fostering sustainable development through innovative services worldwide. Viewers, do stay tuned and follow the updates on the Caribbean Insight social media pages and website for more great content featuring and promoting the Caribbean. We are your host. We are saying goodbye. We're not saying tune into next week's episode. We are saying a bit of goodbye and see you later, but not forever. Definitely not.
We have more things coming up, so stay tuned.
And thank you so much, Avernel, for joining me on this journey. Stay tuned and see you again soon, viewers. Bye.
Bye.